Hi everyone, it's A Ticket to Christ. Thank you for tuning back in. We're looking at different conversations in the Gospels that Jesus had with people, and we're looking at the Canaanite woman in Matthew 15 verses 21 to 28. Then Jesus went thence and departed into the coasts of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coasts, and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. And she said, Truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee, even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. All right, this is some conversation. And what is it that is jumping out at you? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Like, where was Jesus? Where was the woman? Who was the woman? What was it that she said to him? So she initiated this conversation, right? And the conversation started with a plea for mercy. And she made sure she came and she addressed him right. O Lord, thou son of David, my daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. And then she stated her case. But Jesus didn't answer her. He didn't say anything. So she was running after his disciples, crying after them. She was not stopping. So you had the disciples coming in and saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. And that's interesting that they would tell him to send her away. Then Jesus answers her, and he tells her his purpose. I am, come to save the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So the gospel comes first to the Jews and then to the Gentiles. So Jesus is saying, my priority is the house of Israel. That is who I'm about. I'm a Jew. I'm the son of God, but I'm coming in the form of a Jew, right? My human form is a Jew. And these are the ones that God first is giving first dibs to accept or reject the Messiah. Then to the Gentiles, right? Then the gospel will be taken forth to the Gentiles, as we saw it happen in the book of Acts chapter 10, right? So after he responds that way to her, she does not give up. She doesn't say, oh, okay, my bad. No, she comes and she worships him and says, Lord, help me. She doesn't take no for an answer. And now she gets another response that there are some people who say Jesus called her a dog. I don't see it that way. And I don't think she saw it that way. I think that she understood what he was saying. It is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. And what is he saying? That don't throw your pearls to pigs, meaning the dog analogy here is, it is not right to take something that is sacred, that is holy, that is valuable, and that is to be the provision of the children of God, and give it to someone who cannot value it, who would trample on it. It's sort of like, the dog analogy comes from dogs being creatures of instinct, natural instinct. You have a bone with meat, you throw it, that dog will get up from anything and run and go get that meat, right? And in this biblical sense, the dogs were not like the house-trained dogs we have today that have been trained, right? This is just a normal dog. And so it would be, he's alluding to not giving to someone something as valuable as healing, which comes from a spiritual place, and that person cannot value it, and so it's of no use. So her daughter has a devil, But if they don't have an understanding of deliverance, if they don't have a value of it, if they don't believe in it, then that devil will go right back to that daughter, right? Or if you have something that's sacred and you give it to someone, they don't have a value of it, and so they desecrate the sanctity of that thing. And that is really what he's alluding to, as opposed to calling her a dog in how we would tell people you're a dog today. But she came back with the right answer. And her answer was, I'm willing to take the crumbs. And from that, I get that she might not have been a part of the covenant people of God, the lost sheep of the house of Israel, but she might have been living around them, and so had picked up and heard and learned spiritual principles and truths, which would be like crumbs that fall from their master's table. So in essence, yes, but Lord, I have been listening to their teachings. I've been learning from them and taking the crumbs of what I could get in my understanding. And my understanding is that you are the Son of David, spoken of in the Psalms and in the Old Testament, and you are Lord. And she worshiped him as Messiah. And that understanding that came from her gleaning, right, from righteous people, maybe she did not fully understand the whole thing, but she got enough of the crumbs of their learnings, their teachings, to correctly have the level of faith that amazed Jesus. And so what Jesus did call her was a woman of great faith. He said, "Oh woman, great is thy faith," right? "Be it unto thee even as thou wilt." And her daughter was healed. So Jesus says, "You have your desire, woman." And so the conversation left Jesus impressed with the level of faith this woman had. And when you read the gospel, it's not many people that Jesus was impressed with about their faith. But this woman, the Canaanite woman, was one of them. And so from this conversation, there's just many things to get, meaning one of them is, even if you correctly identify who Jesus is, if you don't have the faith, the perseverance, and, just the right understanding, it sounds to me that might not get you anywhere, because she rightly identified Jesus, right? But it did not get her anything until she came with faith, until he saw her faith, right? And she had a persistent faith, because that Jesus didn't go, well, at least she's seeking after me, she's persistent. She had to press the conversation, but he didn't send her away. And so I see here as well, just just that moment in which he's pausing. First, he didn't say anything. He's and for me, I'm getting that he's thinking, well, somebody's identifying me correctly, but they're not of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. They're not, she's coming off time, right? It's here. I'm coming to look for the Jews here, in the coast of Sidon. I'm following God's order. And here there's this Canaanite woman who is coming asking, right? And so he didn't say anything. And there's several times in the scriptures you see Jesus not say anything, right? He just pauses and he kind of listens. And I believe that he's listening for faith. He's listening to hear, is this somebody who has faith, who has believed, just a willingness. That's what I'm seeing in it. And I see a gentleness too, and a humility, even in his explanation to her. He's explaining to her, I am the Messiah, but by order right now, I was sent unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel, this iteration right now. It's for them to accept or reject me, because they were the ones who God chose, right, to bring about the salvation of the world. And to whom much is given, much is expected. But she slipped in, right? And got her healing for her daughter. And what an incredible mother we see in her perseverance, in her persistence. and in the level of faith that she had. She must have been an amazing woman to even, though she was not a part of the law, the house of Israel, to have the type of spiritual understanding that even some of the religious people, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the people who claimed to have known God, they did not recognize Jesus. They did not recognize the Messiah. They did not recognize the Son of God when he came, because they were too busy being religious. And they didn't have the humility to seek after Jesus the way this woman did. And so I see in this conversation a lot of humility in the woman. I see the patience and kindness of Jesus. I see his humility as well in explaining himself. And the humility as well in when she gave the right answers, just commending her faith. And just the importance to God of discernment, of being just, being fair, being equity, having equity, and showing wisdom and good judgment, even in his dealings with others. And so he brought forth that conversation a little bit more to kind of glean a bigger picture as to what exactly he was dealing with, and what exactly to do. So that is it from me, beloved. I hope this is also giving you a lot of food for thought, a lot of things to think through. There are a lot of scriptures that refer to dogs, Revelation 22:15, Philippians 3:2, 2 Peter 2:22, those types of scriptures. And they're not, and they're alluding to dogs in a negative way, because again, dogs in those days were just beasts, brute in the sense of creatures of instinct. They're just about satisfying their fleshly appetites immediately, right? And with no understanding of the depth of something valuable. Like a dog would not understand if you gave him a diamond, the value of that diamond, right? So that is it from me. We'll pick it up again tomorrow. Have a great day.